2 and the other one's 3. So with the 3-year-old, they've slowly been starting to, but I have 2 2-year-olds that are absolutely, the parents are. One wrote a handwritten note saying she doesn't want her child to wear a mask. I was like, it's not really going to work. And then the other parent was like, well, if the president and this person says we don't have to wear them, then I don't see why okay. But I sent out the actual Oxtel announcement with all of the information and explained that we would get cited if our licensor comes in and your child does not have on a mask and we do not have a medical exemption. So what recourse do I have?
We're dealing with this right now at Dana Science. So here's the problem. Licensing is not citing for this anymore. It's over. And with the court ruling that threw out masks, like we can't mandate it. Like at the end of the day, if someone wanted to sue us for mandating it, it would likely be a real case at this point. So you'll notice like all of our wording on our website, even the wording from licensing and the CDC, it says strongly encourage, recommend. Well, yes, Leah, if the company decides, but that's not the way we have our wording written, right? Like as a company. And I'll tell you why. Because as a company in Florida, they're not wearing masks in the centers anymore. That's been going on since like August. There's several states. They haven't had a closure since August. If you come to school and your kid is sick, you go home. Just like if you had a cold and you went home before. That's been done. In many, many states, it's like out and over with. So like as a company, we have one type of wording because we service 42 states or whatever it is. I think there's a way for us to have a conversation with a family that says like these masks are what's keeping us open. If your child chooses not, if we have to get to this point, if you are not going to allow your child to wear a mask every single time there is a closure, you will be required to do 10 days.
But we're not even requiring that if the kids can't
we're
wear
not going to give them the option
like
to test.
Discrimination.
And so, we had one conversation with a family at Seven Fields. Didn't go so well. That kid's not wearing a mask anymore. One kid out of the room. It never went any further. Now, there's like I said, another situation at Bridgeville we're trying to handle a little differently. Encourage his family to wear it. Doing all the right things. They've been wearing it all along, right? Like they've been wearing it all along. So, it's going to be a case-by-case basis. The goal is to get them to keep it on, right? If that's, you're having the conversation, if I need to have a conversation, Morgan was wonderful. She's helped supporting me with a conversation this morning that I just couldn't get to, and we didn't want to escalate any further. But anyway, we just can't use the word mandate. Yeah. So we could talk through that, you and I. If any of you have those, like, let's talk through them individually. It's good. This is good. It's going to keep happening. These conversations are probably going to come up more frequently now. Becca.
Okay. I have a couple questions. One is, maybe I'm confused, but did you just say if they're not going to wear their mask during a closure, then they have to do the 10 days?
But I will ask them to do the 10 days if they refuse to wear the mask.
But then how are we letting infants and toddlers who can't mask at all?
Well, because they're not following what we're asking them to do, basically. We aren't allowed to ask them to do, like, for example, Dana Davin just had a closure. She has a family that refuses to wear a mask. The child does not wear a mask. He did a 10-day closure. Everyone else did 5. We're allowed to say for the health and safety, we're not even going to let you test because you haven't worn a mask this whole time. So the great likelihood of you being positive, and I get like infants and toddlers too, but it's really our way of trying to get them to wear the mask. It's like a leg up we're trying to have in the conversation.
Is that 2 and up too? Because our 2's it's like pulling teeth. So, or is that just like 3 and up, realistically?
Well, licensing is encouraging, and as a company, we actually moved from 3 to 2, so it should be 2 and up.
Okay, so my 2-year-olds are on quarantine right now. Sorry, just
you're fine.
I asked this question already.
So I have a few 2-year-olds right now that don't wear their masks that were exposed on Monday. They're quarantining. They don't wear their masks. So I told them 5 days because we don't make infants.
You're right. They should still test on day 6. We're trying to, when we have these conversations with people that don't want to wear a mask now, it's only been 2 of them out of the 2,111 FTEs we have in this group. What we've said to them is, listen, we're not going to include you in the 5-day isolation period. We are going to ask that you do 10 days every single time there's a closure. That's specific to anybody just refusing to wear a mask. It's just really us saying you're putting us in danger.
But does the CDC say anywhere
Okay.
5 days and then
Is there
5
anyone-
days of wearing a
2-year-olds
mask?
can still test, just as our infants and toddlers can test on day 6 and return on day 7.
So for threes and up, we're just gonna say,
So if they
hey,
don't wear a
listen,
mask,
they
can't they do
if
the
they
same?
can't fully wear their mask, it's 10.
Well, why don't we talk through it individually? Like if you have an individual case, because I think we might be
So
confusing
it should
folks
still
now. I can
be
see some
out 5
faces.
days, text
Confused. I'm
them 6,
confused.
Yeah,
So,
we'll talk
and then they come back.
We'll talk through it.
All right, everybody, I just needed clarity. My next is really quick staff closures. So right now,
To staffing,
yes, with the payments, because
What if you test negative?
I have 2 unvaccinated staff that tested positive. Can they test on day 6?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. That's still going to affect me next week. And me and Myrina are already fully in the classroom all day. So with this new payment policy, if I have a staff closure due to COVID, are the parents still required to pay?
if we have to close due to staffing for any reason, staffing specifically, parents pay for none of that.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to reconfirm. Okay, cool.
It will remain as it is right now. For staffing, we can't. That is not their problem, right?
Yeah.
That's not their problem.
Yes, correct.
Everything we're going to send out is specific to COVID closures only. If you have parents that ask you those questions, what about staffing? No, there will be no payment made if we're closed due to staffing.
Perfect. I think that was
a very good question.
okay. Alrighty. And last one, I put it in the chat, but when is the staff pay going into effect?
The merit increases?
Nope. I have a COVID teacher that tested positive. She worked a little bit on Monday.
Week 5 will begin. So beginning Monday. So any closures that happen through the end of the day Friday.
Forward. Sounds good.
Yep.
Alrighty. That's all. Thanks.
Anything that happens through the end of the day Friday, we can DL discount anything that affects your families, like we talked about last week. Beginning Monday. It's in here. This will go into effect 1/31.
As well. Okay. Awesome.
This will take place. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my turn.
What else?
Okay, I have a question. First, for part-time families, how are we doing billing for them? Like, so if they either come 2 days or 3 days and it's not consecutive days, how are we doing billing for them?
Well, I guess if like a day they're going to be there falls on one of the closure days, like, so let's say I come Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the first 3 days of the closure is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wouldn't pay for Monday or Wednesday. But let's say I could test on Thursday and return on Friday, they'd pay starting Friday. Does that make sense?
So we're basically still keeping it consecutive. So whether they attend that day or not, they won't get a discount if their 3 days aren't in a row. So the 3 days have to be in a row.
But like if my 3 days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wouldn't pay for Monday or Wednesday. I would pay for Friday only. Does that make sense?
Even though Friday they're probably gonna be out.
Well, they can return Friday though. Like I'm saying, so this is an example. If our closure is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, test Thursday, open on Friday, and I only come Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I can't come Monday and Wednesday, so Monday and Wednesday would be discounted. I can attend Friday because my classroom has reopened on Friday. I would pay Friday only. I wouldn't pay for Monday or Wednesday. So I only pay 1 day of care that week.
I'm not sure that totally makes sense, but
Oh, you're on mute.
okay. I think that one's going to definitely be just tricky to think about, because if they come on Monday and we have to close on a Monday and then they're, not here, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but they still can't come back on Friday. I don't know. I just feel like
It's going to depend on the day of the week it falls on, honestly, and what their part-time schedule is. If they were there for any part of the day Monday, because the closure didn't happen until midday, like if care was rendered, like you pay for care that's rendered. But it's going to be specific to their schedule, to be honest.
My other question is, so are we still sending all of this discounting to subsidy?
Yeah, no matter what, I'm going to have to put the closure in, because depending on how the days fall is going to depend on how discounts come out. Yes.
That sucks.
Yeah, for right now, we're still following this agonizing process.
So we can't just put them in drop-in status ourselves or do anything. It has to go through subsidy.
No, because at a company level, we have to show the federal government how much money we're discounting out due to COVID closures to adhere with our grants and everything else.
So do we know if we're getting any additional support for Amy or for subsidy people to do this? It's just...
Amy does have 2 other people helping her right now.
Because right now for us,
some of the discounts have come through from people I've never even heard of.
I know, with having 50% of my center subsidy, and between just trying to keep up with the regular things happening in subsidy and then all the COVID noise that's happening, things are behind. And I know that we're supposed to be trying to, encourage families to get on auto pay. But that's frightening for my subsidy families to do right now. And I know we said we didn't.
We don't want to be really encouraging subsidy families, overly encouraging them to get on auto pay, because with them, if their transfers and discounts aren't put in, it's going to pull the whole payment. They can get on. They can get on if, in fact, they are. They can set it up as a secondary payer, right? So it doesn't pull the whole amount that's pending. But I would not, what we want to do is any new private pay enrollment, absolutely we should be putting on auto pay. Absolutely. We should say, okay, great. I'm glad you're enrolling. We're going to get you set up for auto pay. Wonderful. And then certainly educating and encouraging anyone in the center that is not yet on auto pay, but is a private pay family, we should be working to get them on auto pay. And I will say too, Jamie, I don't think your center has been affected, but even me, having been with Andrea and Yvonne last week and then out, I just now put in the closures from last Wednesday. So a lot of that is me too. I just simply cannot keep up.
So it shouldn't be on you.
That's why I was just wondering if there's ever a solution for it to be a better process. I feel I wish I could do more to make it a smoother process for families, because to be honest, that's an area where my families are getting pissed off, to be quite frank about it. They can't afford to have these things pulled from their accounts, and it's happening. And then they're getting annoyed at me because every day I'm well, I'm, trying to find an answer for you, trying to figure it out. And, it reflects badly on us as a center, and then hurts the relationship because they're already annoyed because they can't attend. Yeah. And then when we don't have the discount in there properly, or we're just not even getting co-pays or subsidy, I don't know. I just feel we've never experienced this much messiness with anything. And Amy is amazing. So I know it's not her fault. I know it's just a matter of there being so much work to be completed. And I feel I wish I could help.
Yeah, it is. Part of the problem is that it is so many steps, right? It's the step of you reporting it, the step of me reporting it, the step of Katie Murphy reporting it, and then the subsidy coordinator finally reporting it. What I can be hopeful for is that, we went from week one, where as a group of 2 districts, we had like 50 some cases. And now this week, we've only had 2 so far, 3 now that Dana Davin has one. So this is like substantially calmed down. So I think perhaps that will help. But I think it got to a point where it's just been very overwhelming for all of us. And hopefully we're toning down a little bit now. But I don't have a great answer. Like, I fully get the frustration. And I mean, like, our engagement scores are very reflective of the fact that, like, it's not easy to do business with my center, right? Like, you know, it's not just your center or your center or your center or your center or our district. It's like the whole company. So we're very well aware of the fact that it's super sloppy. I think we're trying to do the best that we can, given all the departments and the reporting that we have to do with this, but it's in no way clean or perfect by any means. Tina, do you still? Oh, I've been asking kids or people that are unvaccinated cannot wear a mask. I lost it. Well, why don't you just ask?
Sure. So we have been following the 5-day quarantine. Even if they test negative on that day 6, if they cannot consistently wear a mask, like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, or even some of our preschoolers, you know, their masks come off all day long. We are still, from what I thought the CDC recommended, if you can't consistently wear that mask, you have to quarantine for an additional 5 days. Is that, we're not doing that anymore?
No, we haven't been doing that for, I don't know, 3 weeks or so now.
Oh my God, she's so full of shit.
Even infants and toddlers, all ages, can test on day 6, return on day 7. So,
Okay.
listen, CDC
Did you hear the
specifically
crap she
states,
just said?
if you cannot consistently wear a mask, you're out for 5 days. And even if you're above 2 or above, it says if you are healthy, just the word healthy, whatever that means to anybody, that very vague word, if you're healthy, you can return to life on day 6 and mask. Nowhere does it say
She
it
said we
requires
haven't
a
been
test.
doing the 10-day quarantine for like
We are
infants and
doing that.
toddlers.
To combat
For 3
that
weeks.
piece. That's the piece that we went to the health department and licensing with, so that we can safely say these folks can return because they're testing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
It's bullshit.
You're going to keep seeing stuff come from licensing. I, in fact, had one licensor come back to me last week and was like, I want you to know your grant money's at stake. Yeah, whatever you guys do. So we reiterated it to her, Jordan and I. And she was like, oh, no, you're right. You're good. So, you know, we're getting a lot of like personal preferences too from licensors and people at the health department. So, like, here's the thing. Jordan, and even KinderCare, we can't put our entire company at stake for a whole state to say we're allowed to do this just because we want to. Like, if we really weren't able to do it, we wouldn't do it, right? Like, that could put us in all sorts of hot water. So, you know, having validation for at a state level from Octel and for the DHS is what has allowed us to, like, move forward with this. Like, imagine, honestly, the mess we would have as a company if we just, like, went rogue and did whatever the heck we wanted. Right. So like, that's the way I've tried to like look at this too. So anyway, Devin.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. So I know we kind of covered this, but if a child gets tested on day 6, they get the results back at 12 p.m. on day 7. Can they come back day 7, or
Yes.
do they have to wait until